are on India Today podcasts, and you are in the sledging room.
India have won the Asia Cup. Finally, a big tournament victory for India after 5 years. Ironically, the last major tournament India had won was also the Asia Cup in the ODI format back in 2018. It's been a long wait, but the wait for the that elusive ICC trophy also continues. Of course, it's now a 10-year wait, a shade over 10 years since India won the Champions Trophy in England in 2013. Well, a lot of positives for India. Look, you've got to give it that. Rohit Sharma's form, 3 consecutive half centuries. Virat Kohli, that 100 against Pakistan. Splendid return to international cricket for KL Rahul. Nothing to complain about. We've talked about KL Rahul's fitness issues, but he settled the debate with that 100 against Pakistan. A crucial 39 against Sri Lanka on a raging turner. And he was superb with the gloves behind the wickets. And his DRS call was spot on, as ever. And of course, Jasprit Bumrah. He never looked like he was away for so long, right? For over a year, he didn't play one days. And he's come back superbly well. Mohammed Siraj, of course, destroying Sri Lanka in that final. 50 all out, right? Siraj returning figures of 6 for 21, which, by the way, are the 4th best bowling figures by an Indian in one-day international. So plenty to take away. And of course, Shubman Gill's form. He started off 2023 heroically. There was a dip in the ODIs against Australia. Didn't get too many runs on the tour of the West Indies. That one half century in that ODI series there. And of course, now finishing the Asia Cup 2023 as the highest run scorer. Kuldeep Yadav, the man of the series with 9 wickets. Positives everywhere. But we'll also delve into a bit of discussion. I mean, this is the sledging room, right? Mm-hmm. We won't be able to complete an episode without a niggling issue here and there. I thought that defeat against Bangladesh, not taking too much away from the Bangladesh team or not looking too much into their effort, but that has also exposed a little bit of your bench strength, right? But overall, kudos to the Asian Cricket Council for hosting the tournament the way they did. In Colombo, there was a lot of skepticism, some bit of criticism, but we talked about that on the sledging room and said that, look, you have to give the ACC that credit for, ensuring there was a reserve day for a high-profile India-Pakistan match, for a high-profile Super 4 match, and kudos to the Colombo ground staff. Wonderful gesture by Jay Shah and the ACC to hand out a generous prize money, an amount to the Sri Lankan ground. So Mohammed Siraj as well, right, gave away his prize money too. Akshay, I know. In hindsight, I was also a little disappointed with the final. Didn't expect it to be that one-sided. We already discussed that on the sledging room. Look, Pakistan is not the team to beat in this current setup. They can be number 1, but look at the teams that they've beaten. 4-1 against New Zealand, an understrength New Zealand team. 3-0 against Afghanistan, and they defeated Bangladesh and Nepal in the Asia Cup. They lost to Sri Lanka. They lost to India. Who knows what could have happened had Rain not intervened in Palekele.
Yeah.
But, at 12 for 5, you knew it was done. Yes. So I'll tell you what I was feeling before I roll the ball over to the two of you. But what I thought was, I wanted a fight back. But at 12 for 5, you knew that was over. Yes. If there was no fight back, I thought, could Sri Lanka be bowled out for 20 odd? Let India make that record of bowling out an opposition team for the lowest ever ODI total. But also in hindsight, we were there, right? We were talking about how, if Sri Lanka reached 160 and 70, could they have posed a challenge? But of course, with the way Shubman and Ishan batted, a disappointing final, 2 one-sided.
Yeah. But a big positive, Raj, from there. Against Bangladesh, we were talking about that Super Force match. You were talking about it a little while earlier. Bangladesh were 160 for 6 or something. Yeah. And then from there on, their last 4 wickets put on 105 runs. So I was having that feeling that from 12 for 6, they might end up scoring 130, 140 and then put pressure on the India batters. But thankfully, Siraj was that momentum that Siraj showed throughout his spell. In fact, Rohit Sharma made a candid admission during the press conference saying that Siraj wanted to bowl more and he also thought he would give him an extra over or 2. But the physio sent a message straight away saying 7 overs is enough. Overall, a commendable performance. That big point of winning the big match. We've been speaking about it for so long that we've not been able to do well in the high pressure situations. The 2019 World Cup semi-final, the 2017 Champions Trophy. Of course, we won the 2018 Asia Cup in the ODI format. but the World Test Championship finals, 2 World Test Championship finals back to back, regardless of the opposition, that final, winning that final, especially leading into the ODI World Cup at home, I think this is a huge boost for Team India.
Also, I don't think Siraj would have minded bowling those 10 overs. He looked like he wanted the ball at every given point on the field. Maybe he would have said, can I bowl more than 10 overs? How does it matter? No? It's my day.
Yeah, definitely. Especially after you saw what happened in that over. So he takes 4 wickets. One ball which went for boundary. There was no fielder on mid-on. And this man ran through the boundary to try and stop the ball. So he was ready to give it all.
Yeah.
You could see it on the field. And India winning that final, it's a very happy moment for all of us.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you both one simple question. We won the final. It was a one-sided final. I'm coming on this question very early in the episode, but I'm asking you one simple question. This was your best playing 11, right? What happened in that Bangladesh game? I mean, you dropped 5 first team players, likes of Suryakumar Yadav, who have been terrific in T20Is. Why is the Indian team carrying Suryakumar Yadav?
Are we going to still talk about that one defeat in this episode?
No, but it's a relevant question. I'll tell you why. Yes, you in hindsight you'll say, look, it was inconsequential. You rested 5 players, not drop. You rested.
Sorry.
Who was it?
Virat.
So
Hardik Pandya,
Ravindra Jadeja, I'm sorry,
Kuldeep
Jadeja
Yadav,
played. Kuldeep
Jasprit
Yadav,
Bumrah.
Bumrah and Siraj. Only 2 top order batters were rested. Look, I wasn't obviously worried about Rohit Sharma getting out for a duck. Happens. But I'll tell you what, I would have taken the defeat even if, say, someone else scored that 100 instead of Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shubman Gill is proven. I mean, he's proven himself throughout the only batter in one-day cricket to go past the 1,000-run
so
mark
far this year.
What does it say about your bench strength?
Yeah.
Suryakumar Yadav, right? We're talking about, he got 20 odd. Akshar Patel, again, that was a huge leap. But is Akshar Patel going to play as a batsman who can bowl a bit? Whoever comes in that position, they're not going to play as a batsman who can bowl a bit, right? They're going to play as both.
Yeah. And
that's essentially what you're looking at.
And if your top order is firing, if you have found middle order players, especially KL and Ishan, who have shown some confidence, then looking for that batter at number 8, number 9 doesn't make sense.
No, but that's the thing. I think they're still a little worried about that batting lineup. Look, you can talk all you like about how they did it well at the Asia Cup. You got to look at it from what South Africa have done to Australia.
Absolutely.
Australia have been hit by a few sudden injury concerns. England dropped Jason Roy. They brought in Harry Brook. South Africa struggling with Andre Nokia specifically. Travis Head for Australia is also a major concern, but those are injuries you pick up on the cricket field, like with Akshar Patel. I think he got injured himself during that innings against Bangladesh. But the point is, when looking at that number 8, you want a decent batter, right? But you're looking specifically at the bigger role that he has to operate with. That is the ball. So that's why this Ashwin versus Washington Sundar conundrum is an interesting one. I mean, you play R. Ashwin in any format, specifically in one days. I mean, obviously no brainer in Test cricket, even though he's been left out in overseas Test matches, especially if the World Cup is happening in India. Give him a chance. And he's looking fit, by the way. He's looking even fitter. He's no mug with the bat. He's a wily customer. He will be a handful in these conditions. Like Rohit Sharma said, right? We, of course, recording this podcast even before India have announced that side against Australia for the 3-match ODIs. But I think he'll be in the reckoning. And you need someone like R. Ashwin. I mean, he can hold his own with the bat. So to answer your question, yes, you should be a little apprehensive about your reserve strength. Because that's what we've been talking about, your bench strength, your reserve players. Now you can't brush it aside.
Exactly. Like I just asked that question to poke some fire here. But you know what, Raj? Over the years, we have taken a lot of pride in our bench strength. Like Saurav asked that question.
Yeah.
But the most disappointed I was with in that match was not Rohit Sharma, not the other players, but Suryakumar Yadav.
Yeah, definitely.
During that 34-ball stay for 26 runs, at no point did he look comfortable against spin. Like, how will you play spin on such a track? Bangladesh have some high-quality spinners. Shakib Al Hasan, one of the finest spinners. Against him, Suryakumar did not even think to play straight. He was either sweeping or going back on the back foot and trying to cut it, and eventually paid the price when he swept a ball. And in around 21 innings, 21 matches and 19 innings, he has gone without a 15 in ODI cricket. And I don't know on what basis he'll be travelling to the World Cup. I want to ask you both this question. As in, is it time to drop Surya Kumar Yadav from the Australia ODIs or maybe give him 3 more chances, would you give him 3 more chances or would you drop him and pick up someone else for the World Cup squad?
How many more chances? I mean, you're looking at what England have done. So they have dropped Jason Roy and brought in Harry Brook.
Yeah.
You need to bring in players who perform. You have given Surya Kumar Yadav enough chances. He played Asia Cup. He played in the West Indies ODIs. He played against Australia when they last played an ODI series in India. He has not been able to perform in any one of those games. So now I think you should give someone a chance who you think can perform in the World Cup also. You've got 3 more ODIs left and I think 2 more practice games before the World Cup starts.
Yeah.
So you need to give someone who can bat, who has been in form, someone like Sanju Samson. Why not? I mean, why waste? I will be very rude, I will be very tough on Surya Kumar Yadav, but if you are giving him those chances, they will be wasted. That is what I think.
No, but the question that you need to address before pondering over Surya Kumar Yadav is, what position is he going to bat in? The top 3 select themselves.
Yeah.
You have KL Rahul at number 4, Ishan Kishan at number 5. That's impregnable.
Yeah. And there is competition for that spot as well. Shreyas Iyer, if he's fit.
Shreyas Iyer, right? Look at the way England have gone with Jason Roy. Couldn't play those matches. Out. And no fault of his. But I mean, even imagine Jason Roy was an integral part of the 2019 World Cup series.
Yes.
Right? Injury issues, you're not in. Out. So now you're talking of someone like Surya Kumar Yadav, who's going to replace either one of the top 5 if they're not in form or injured. But you would expect the top 5 to carry the major heft of the World Cup. Hopefully they can play all the 9 matches in the group stages and take any of the semis. And hopefully India can win the World Cup from there. You are anyway going to bat Hardik Pandya at number 6. You're looking at Ravindra Jadeja at number 7. By the way, who's not had a great year with the bat in one different
Jadeja.
Exactly. That is a question, right? He's bowled well in patches, not been excellent with the ball either.
Yeah.
So, and you're looking at a number 8 as well, at a number 8 who can bat a bit.
But can you afford to drop Jadeja and bring in Surya Kumar?
No,
That will
I'm
weaken
not saying that. I'm not saying that. So that's why that Surya Kumar Yadav debate is so interesting. You know, you're looking at a specialist who can replace one of the all-rounders. I would also look at KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan as all-rounders because they're wicket keepers, and you never know if KL Rahul is being too strained. It's been too strained for KL Rahul. Maybe Ishan Kishan will don the gloves. So you have that flexibility with those two. Left-hander, another advantage. Now, with the kind of role you had in mind for Surya Kumar Yadav, you would have essentially wanted him to bat lower down the order at number 6, preferably, because
that is what he also.
That
said
is what
in
he
the
also
press
wanted,
conference.
right? You know, with his 360-degree shot selection and the arc that he uses.
Yeah.
So increasingly, I see that role for Surya Kumar Yadav diminishing in that middle order. Same with Shreyas Iyer now. Shreyas Iyer is essentially a number 4 batter.
Yeah.
You are now going to either poke your finger and say, you know what, KL Rahul, you're going to get into the nitty-gritties of that. Let the batters who are scoring run play, irrespective of this position. Kohli, you can't move him from top 3. I do not agree with all that debate around Kohli batting down at number 4. You know, he's spent all of his career, most of his career at number 3. Why not look for specialists? Specialists win you World Cups. Whether you are an all-rounder, a specialist all-rounder, specialist batsman, specialist bowler, that's exactly what you need. Unless you had those medium pacers and all-rounders like New Zealand had in the 1990s, early 2000s, or England had a few years back. Now, look at the kind of all-rounders they have. Ben Stokes doesn't want to bowl. That's why he's come back into the one-day fold. But if he bowled, he could have also gone in and made an impact. Hardik Pandya, whether with bat and ball, he is now a world-class all-rounder. He will be, like Wasim Akram said, one of the main weapons. So, I agree. Surya Kumar Yadav, I think he's just taking up a spot. I would rather have an extra bowler who could bat a bit. Maybe take 2 more all-rounders. How does it matter? You need your top 5 to stand up. You will have one replacement for Shreyas Iyer if Shreyas Iyer is not fit. And a batsman who could also bowl a bit.
Even when you look at Shreyas Iyer, he's a like-for-like replacement. It's not like you would want to rest someone in the squad and you can bring in Shreyas Iyer. If you want to make a tactical change, you can bring in Shreyas Iyer in place of KL Rahul or Ishan Kishan. He's as good. But with Surya Kumar Yadav, only if you want to rest someone, you can bring him in. Even that is even he hasn't proved himself in that role as well. So even I agree with that. I think it's time for India to look for someone else and give them, like Saurabh said, give them a couple of matches against Australia.
Sanju, and I agree with your point that, look, why don't you go for all-rounders if you want to play? For example, if we look at India's squad for the World Cup, I think we've got 3 spinners.
3 spinners.
We've got Ravindra Jadeja,
Yeah.
Akshay Patel and Kuldeep. Kuldeep has been brilliant with the ball. Ravindra Jadeja has been good in patches, but Akshar Patel has not been able to do that kind of a role with the ball. You need someone else who can actually come up. Like for example, if you want to play 3 spinners, and Akshar Patel is not fit right now. Hopefully he will get fit for the World Cup. But if he's not fit, you need someone else as a spinner. You can go for an R. Ashwin, you can go for a Washington Sundar.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Sanju Samson, yes, I wanted Sanju Samson to play if we need a batter. But if we are looking for an all-rounder, why not go for a spin bowling all-rounder? Like Washington Sundar, who did not play who was actually in that playing 11, but did not get to bowl or bat in the final. Or R. Ashwin, who can actually give you a good 7, 8, 10, 9, 10 overs, whatever you need from him. And then if you are looking at chasing a low scoring total, he can be very handy with the bat also.
But I agree, there are still some contentious issues with a couple of positions. But you also got to look at the positives, right? I mean, I know it's a sledging room. And
Of course.
you rarely do that.
Yeah.
But,
But I know.
let's look at Rohit Sharma's form for starters.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to get back into the 2019 mindset. 3 consecutive half centuries.
But
Halfway
still
there.
that 100 is not
Halfway there.
Halfway there, yeah.
Halfway there.
Another 3 matches against Australia.
Kuldeep Yadav, and we've talked about India's bowling strength. Jasprit Bumrah was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Siraj, destructive in that final. The thing with Siraj is he just needs a little bit of the elements to support him, and he can run through sides. I'm not saying that you can bowl South Africa, Australia, England out for 50, but you will have that edge.
Now you have the answer to that, that second fast bowler who would partner Bumrah. It will not be.
But
Shami.
I don't think there was much of a debate anyway. I mean,
Siraj was going to play.
Siraj was going to play ahead of Shami. Shami, that spell against Bangladesh, took a couple of early wickets, but he's just a little wayward in his second and third
But
spells.
we have to mention Shardul and Hardik.
Oh, yes.
With the ball. They both were phenomenal in the Asia Cup.
Absolutely.
Most of the times we've had some good opening new ball bowlers, and then the first change might tend to leak runs.
Yes.
But
That is what
at
has
that
happened.
point they both did a very good job whenever they were given opportunities. And Kuldeep, as in it's been a long since a spinner in ODI cricket.
Yeah.
Answering to the captain's call in the middle overs, Whenever you need wickets, Rohit looks at Kuldeep and he delivered. 5 wickets against Pakistan, 4 wickets against Sri Lanka in the match where we defended 213. It was good to see Kuldeep, and it was a good, like India, Kuldeep also needed that confidence. Kuldeep also needed that confidence in the big tournament, and I'm quite happy that he has got it. And for me, the star of the Asia Cup has to be KL Rahul, especially for all that you both, criticized about him.
We never criticized KL Rahul. We criticized the fitness conundrum and the confusion and the late calls. But I agree with you. It's a bowling concern. But, a lot of people tell me that a lot of other shows don't talk enough, don't delve enough into the bowling lineup. You're right. Bumrah and Siraj, extremely tight. You can't really score very quickly off them unless they're having an off day, which is very, very rare. Hardik Pandya gives you immense control, and he's up the ante with his pace. Shardul Thakur, yes, he can leak runs sometimes, but he's a serial partnership breaker. That guy, he comes on and he can, put you on the mat
for you.
He's going to get you wickets. Kuldeep Yadav gets you wickets. And then you have someone like Ravindra Jadeja, Kuldeep Yadav, Ravindra Jadeja, both left-arm spinners, but obviously very, very different. And now if you're talking of someone like Ashwin in the mix, or even Washington Sundar, just saying that, gives you that right-arm off-spinner option. But again, Washington Sundar is not picked up too many wickets.
Yeah.
You look at the IPL, you look at the NPL, for instance. Where are the wickets? Yes, he's a complete package, almost a complete package as a batsman. But again, who do you need? Akshar Patel too, especially in one-day cricket.
Yeah,
He's more of a lower-order batting all-rounder.
Absolutely.
Same with Washington Sundar. How many wickets? Fine, maybe their roles could be to just hold one end up. But with someone like R. Ashwin, you're talking of serious experience, you're talking of serial guile, and you're talking of a superb option. It's the best off-spin in the world.
But he's
in
played
India.
only 2 ODIs
Since
the start of 2018.
Which is again poor planning.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the World Cup in India, so that's what we've also discussed in the past. Your planning has been a little,
You also said that in the podcast, whether they go on to win the Asia Cup or not.
Yeah.
The build-up and their planning to the tournament was a little shaky.
No, it is still. I think, in all fairness, I think it's still a little shaky because, you're looking at 2 other options. You're talking of Surya Kumar Yadav. You're talking of an injury concern to Shreyas Iyer. Potential late recovery for Akshar Patel, and now suddenly the captain says, yes, I'm in touch with R. Ashwin over the phone, we keep talking, and he's obviously the NCA, we've talked about that, but it's still a little iffy. But we're right now talking about the positives only in the first layer.
Yeah.
It's a long format. I mean, this is not an easy format. You saw what happened in the 2019 World Cup. Somebody was injured, Shikhar Dhawan, and you had to rush somebody else in.
Exactly.
Another player in. So you don't want that sort of a situation. Touch wood. What if? You also look at what ifs. I mean, every sporting team in the world talks about it. So, yes, I think that's all well that you're looking at the positives, but that bench strength will give the captain a few sleepless nights.
Especially, I will not raise questions on the quality of these Asian teams, but the way they performed in the Asia Cup, you will see that in other continents, you saw how Australia were playing South Africa, England were playing New Zealand, and the kind of cricket they were playing, and the kind of cricket we played. See, that Sri Lanka game, the Super 4 game in Sri Lanka, our bowling was just and we performed. Against Pakistan were nowhere in the game with the ball, with the bat. Again, you come to the final. Sri Lanka were outclassed in like 2-3 overs. That 4-wicket over from Siraj. So did this Indian team? I would like to ask both of you. Did this Indian team get enough practice? Like if you are going to play likes of Australia, England, New Zealand, South Africa, and they are all coming up fired up.
Raj, one thing I have to disagree with a lot of people here is the Asian teams have always done well. As in, I know that head coach Rahul Dravid spoke about the diminishing home advantage for subcontinent teams, but I still think that some of these hyped up overseas teams like former champions Australia, England and all that might not be able to do as well as they are doing in these bilateral series now. I still think that Asia Cup was a good workout for India, especially regardless of what the quality of the Pakistan game was. Super force against Pakistan, pressure, India stepped up. Against Sri Lanka, a very good bowling attack, Dunit Velalage doing really well, and then we stepped up. I think it was a good workout, and let's not get carried away by what South Africa are doing against Australia on roads in Centurion and Johannesburg. It's not going to count much when they come here, is what I think. And England as a team, I don't think they have the resources to challenge for the title this time.
Okay. I have a couple of points around the Asian teams. Right? We've discussed this. 83 India world champions, 87 India in the semis, 92 Pakistan champions, 96 Sri Lanka, 99 Pakistan in the finals, 2003 India in the finals, 2007 Sri Lanka in the finals, 2011 India champions,
Sri Lanka in the
India versus Sri Lanka, first ever World Cup final with both Asian nations, and then 2015 again India were in the semis, 2019 India were in the semis, 2023 it almost seems like India the flag bearers for Asia. I'll tell you, we've talked about it. Pakistan are not the team to beat in international cricket now. Yes, number one. But who have you beaten this year so far? What have been your major challenges? In the Asia Cup, you defeated Nepal, you defeated Bangladesh, you came up against India, right? You let the Indians stage a superb recovery because you cannot handle that sort of pressure. Apart from your fast bowlers, you're looking at your spin resources. Pakistan are very, very thin there. Even with the batting order, right? The top 2 or top 3 don't perform, you are in deep trouble, right? Just a contrast to what India did against Pakistan. Superb recovery. And even in Colombo in the Super 4 match, after that superb start, you had KL Rahul, Virat Kohli up the ante on a flat pitch. Pakistan were just completely dumbfounded. They lost to Sri Lanka. A Sri Lankan team which has come up the ranks to the World Cup after winning the qualifiers. Yes, Sri Lanka also ran India close on a spinning pitch. But again, are Sri Lanka really that experienced? You saw some of the shot selection. I mean, kudos to Siraj and Bumrah and Pandya for the way they bowled, especially Siraj tore through that Sri Lankan lineup. But the shot selection was abysmal. Dasun Shanaka had never faced a new ball in one-day cricket. Well. So, I mean, he's their captain. So, and he's been in very, very poor form with the bat. Dunit Velalage coming in as a young guy, he won't be able to tackle all that kind of pressure. You're really dependent on the two Kusals. Pathum Nissanka, again, not in the best of form. You're missing Avishka Fernando. You've missed Walindu Hasaranga so far. So, Charit Asalanka and Dhananjay De Silva, there's going to be too much pressure on Asalanka and De Silva as well along the way.
Absolutely.
To do it with the bat, do it with the ball. They have a few super ball-rounders, but handling that pressure. But again, I still think they will be one of the dark horses for the World Cup. Coming to your point on South Africa and Australia, I agree partially with what you said and also with Dravid. Look at the likes of Heinrich Klaasen and David Miller, especially David Miller. He has a wealth of knowledge with the IPL. He's played a couple of blinders in the IPL as well. Heinrich Klaasen, he's set the stage on fire with that partnership just a few days back. So you have got to take them a little more seriously. Australia, we keep talking about Australia, few injury concerns, but look at the lineup that they have. Alex Carey among the runs as well. Got out for 99.
Absolutely.
That match was almost as good as over. But that 99 was just breathtaking, right? You were struggling with Jason Roy, England, and then you have someone like David Milan stepping in. So if you say that England don't have the depth, I don't know which team does in one-day cricket.
Yeah, I could not understand what you want to say.
I say their weaknesses against spin will be exposed
You know
when
why?
they come here.
Because if you look at the batting order of these teams, Australia, England, South Africa, they have got destructive batters till number 8, 9. Okay. Now, if you talk about their bowling attacks, they have got so many bowling options.
England, what do they have? Moeen Ali as their lead spinner, Adil Rashid as the
Moeen
backup
Ali
spinner.
will run through your
I
batting
don't think
attack.
so. I am saying England don't have.
But how many spinning pitches will you really get in the World Cup?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
But
will
as
you
the
really get all
tournament,
this?
it's not summer also.
Will you get Colombo-like tracks? Exactly. This is not summer. There will be some seam movement. There will be a lot of dew.
Yeah.
You're not playing in February
That's
or
a fair
March.
point, yeah.
You're not going to play. Remember what happened in Chennai against the West Indies in 2011? Yuvraj Singh scored 100, took a 5-wicket haul. It was all happening. The spinners played a crucial role. And I agree with Rohit that the pacers are going to play a much bigger role this time. How many wickets do you anyway see spinners taking in one-day cricket on an average in these middle phases? That innings was a little different because you were taking on Pakistan.
But this time, I think, like you said, like this point actually makes me think what will be the World Cup like? As in, whether how much a pace can dominate in this weather. I'm intrigued, but I still think England don't have the necessary tools.
And one more thing.
Yeah.
You talk about Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Pakistan had a good bowling attack, which is actually their main bowlers are injured. Naseem Shah injured. Hais Rauf, he will be fit in time for World Cup. They don't have a spin attack. Sharab Khan was leaking runs like anything.
Yeah.
You come to this Sri Lankan team, their pace attack is young, not good enough. The spin attack is very good. But when you come to teams like Australia, England, South Africa, they have got good spinners, they have got good pacers, they have good bowling all-rounders. So they have got complete teams. I don't agree with you on that part. England is not good enough, does not have the team to win the World Cup. I'm not saying that they will go and win the World Cup, but you can't rule them out. They're England.
Yeah.
They have innovated the ODI cricket in a different way in the last 10 years. So you just can't rule them out.
My concern is not just about spinners versus pacers. Look, we were talking about that game against Pakistan as well, where Kuldeep Yadav, took that 5-wicket haul. Again, that game against Sri Lanka, the very next day, took another 4 wickets. So you had pitches like that. How many Colombo-like pitches are you going to get in India for the
Yes.
Lucknow, where you're going to face England.
Again.
Chennai.
The sluggish pitches, I agree.
But even in Chennai,
but
the
even
IPL
Indian
scores were
batsmen
around
have been known
200.
to struggle
Yes.
on the sluggish pitches.
Yeah, true.
Right? So, and this format, remember,
9.
in England, those conditions suited India's batters and their
Yeah.
pacers. The pacers were in supremely good form, Shami and Bumrah. Right? Here, you have world-class pacers, 3 world-class pacers, only 2 of which are going to play in that 11 at any given point, mostly. Because, again, you want a solid number 8 who can bat for you a little. Australia have that kind of pace attack as well. I think England have a very dangerous pace attack. South Africa with Enrique Nokia Feast along with Kagiso Rabada, Lungi and Gidi, that makes for a potent pace attack as well. Pakistan have that lineup. But again, like I said, Pakistan are very, very dodgy. Because you may not have Naseem Shah in that playing 11. He may not be part of the World Cup.
Yeah.
And there are obviously internal issues in the Pakistan team. No matter what the Pakistan...
That's actually the story of the Asia Cup, Raj. When they entered the Asia Cup,
They are the favourites.
they were the firm favourites for the first time. And then they were the number 1 ranked side.
Everybody was talking about they have a settled unit,
Exactly.
a very good fast bowling unit.
And
The
when
batters
the
are...
Asia
they
Cup
have-
ended, it became, as in, a complete U-turn for Pakistan, right?
But we said that.
Yeah. And a complete U-turn for us also.
Yeah.
We did not have a settled batting unit.
Yes.
We were talking how our top order is going to perform.
2 contrasting stories actually for India and Pakistan.
No, but India, it was a little edgy. Because you look back at this World Cup preparation, I think it's somehow started from that series in Bangladesh, which you lost, near full strength team. You won against Sri Lanka and New Zealand at home, but you again lost to Australia.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest disconcerting point was you losing a one-day match to the West Indies, even if it wasn't your full strength side. Rohit and Virat not playing in the one-dayers, despite being in the team. So it is a little... It was a little undermining, that performance.
Yeah.
Yes, you came up in the Asia Cup. You were ordinary with the ball against Nepal, I would say. Yeah. They almost looked sluggish. I think it was the same against Bangladesh. Maybe there was no motivation to do well. And you did incredibly well in the 2 matches that mattered, in the Pakistan Super 4 match and in the final against Sri Lanka. But small question marks, but those question marks are also true for the other teams as well, like
Yes,
England, Australia,
yes.
and South Africa. South Africa with those injury concerns, Australia with the form,
Plenty of injury
with certain
concerns
form
there,
issues as
exactly.
well. And Glenn Maxwell coming back after a long time.
Yeah.
But I think the only bit to envy about these teams, especially Australia and England, is that bunch of all-rounders. Look at Glenn Maxwell. Manas Labuschagne is now being counted as an all-rounder as well.
Mitchell Marsh.
Mitchell Marsh, Marcus Stoinis, Cameron Green.
Green.
And England have Chris Wokes.
Yeah.
Ben Stokes is obviously not going to bowl. You have Joe Root who can turn his
Sam
arm.
Curran.
Roll his arm over Sam Curran. So
South Africa's
Moeen Ali-
Marco Jansen
yeah.
is
Yeah.
making
Absolutely.
waves there.
Coming down at number 7, scoring
Yeah.
quick runs. What else do you need?
Picking
And
up 5-wicket hauls.
especially with Heinrich Klaasen and David Miller in that kind of form, hitting form, lower down in the middle order, that gives them an immense advantage. And Temba Bavuma again, back among the runs. He's one of the leading run scorers in the world this year. And Quinton de Kock, will he be extra motivated because he's playing his final World Cup? But those question marks are there with
Every team.
most of the other
Yeah.
teams.
Pakistan, more now.
Pakistan,
Looks
there's
like
a whole
more,
question mark on the Pakistan line. Was there a
There were reports of rift
a
also.
bust up in the dressing room of Shaheen Afridi and Babar Azam
Yeah.
having a go at each other? We can't verify these. I mean, this is all hearsay on social media. Some Pakistani journalists have refuted those reports. Some say it happened. I don't know. Apparently, Babar wanted to drill home the fact that that there has been a good enough team performance. And
But
Shaheen
to be
Afridi
fair,
said, yeah.
to whoever it is, but Babar's captaincy at the Asia Cup was, horrible to say the least. Because at crunch moments, he was his body language wasn't right up there.
You know what? I don't know why people are concerned about Babar's captaincy now. He has been captain of Pakistan ODI cricket team since 2020. He has not been able to perform if you see his captaincy, yes, Pakistan reached the final of Asia Cup and the T20 World Cup last year, but his captaincy was below normal. He was below average as a captain. And he has not improved a bit in last 3 years as a captain. You see, he struggles with the bowling changes, with the field placements. He does not know what to do when a new batter is coming out.
Yeah.
He does not take those slips. I mean, you could
Is it because of too much criticism from the outside? As in,
No, but I don't-
as a young batter, his captaincy also coincided with the time
but
he was
again,
growing up
Babar-
as a batter.
Look, not every good batsman is a leader. I mean, Joe Root, for that matter, was a very, the captain looked very indifferent. And Babar Azam, I don't think he commands the respect of the entire team.
exactly.
I think there is an issue there as well because, when they won that game against India in the 2021 T20 World Cup, there were videos of him addressing the team, asking them to be, tone it down.
Looked like, yeah.
Yeah, but again,
PR work.
it was almost PR work. But then why do you not have viral videos of
Yeah.
an apparent,
Yeah.
alleged rift in the
Their
dressing
leg
room?
spinner, Usama Mir, in a statement on Twitter, addressed that concern that there is favoritism in the as in, he didn't say that, he denied that there was favoritism, but why do you even bring it up? Some people are saying it on social media, means why do you have to address that? As a player, it's, I don't know, as in,
Look, the thing
Shadab
with-
Khan looked
the thing
ordinary,
with Pakistan
and they
is-
still persisted with him throughout the tournament.
They thrive on that mercurial status.
Yeah.
You never know which Pakistan is going to turn up. But you would talk about a Pakistani side from that era which had Wasim Akram and Waqar Yunus with the new ball. Many years later you had Shoaib Akhtar, then you had Abdul Razak, then you had Saqlain Mushtaq Ahmad, Shaheen Afridi, you had Saeed Anwar somewhere. I mean, I'm talking of slightly different contrasting time periods, but they were all there together for a while. Ijaz Ahmad, lower down the order. So you had a super batting lineup. You had fearsome fast bowlers. You had spinners who could turn the match on its head.
You had proper match winners.
Yes.
Mercurial team.
And yes, they would then suffer some collapses here and there. There would be, reports of altercation in the team. That was typical Pakistan. Now this Pakistan is really very ordinary. You look at 2 or 3 pace bowlers, you sit up and take notice. You like Naseem Shah in the T20 World Cup final was phenomenal. Yes, England won, but I thought he was superb. Shaheen Afridi can be brilliant, of course. Haris Rauf. With that consistency, it is lacking. It is completely lacking. And again, from the top 3, Fakhar Zaman and Imamul Haq, you'd expect a lot because those 2 openers are in good form.
Yeah.
Or have been in decent form. Babar Azam in big matches is a huge problem. And his body language, forget his body language, tactically he was very, very ordinary. Bringing on part-time spinners against Virat and KL Rahul, even before they had entirely gotten the rise in, they were
On the
away for
reserve day,
24 hours
Yeah.
between resumption of play on the reserve day and the time when Play got called off. 24 hours they were away from the field. They would have also felt a little bit of pressure had Afridi and Naseem bowled a little bit in tandem.
I mean, yeah, Pakistan is a whole group of issues right now. This whole Pakistan team is a mess right now. After the Asia Cup, whatever happened in the Asia Cup, that India defeat broke them down. It looks like.
It does. But also
Also, we have to give credit to the ACC, Raj. Like
I was coming to that.
Absolutely.
Yes, I was coming to that.
Like when we started in the last week's episode, we discussed how the criticism
Was unwarranted.
Too much of criticism. There were too many calls saying that this decision will not work in favor of India. Some people saying that it should have gone to UAE. Some people saying that it should have gone to Hambantota.
Yeah.
There were reports which I still can't believe saying that Indian cricket team didn't want to go here, go there. I don't
Even
know.
if they did not, I completely am okay with that. You want to play the Asia Cup in the biggest city, in Colombo. And by the way, a lot of people who talked about, but it was going to rain in Colombo. You should have known that. It was a late onset of monsoon in Sri Lanka, in that part of the country there. Please read weather updates before you jump into that kind of criticism. So it was a late onset of monsoon.
It was not even changed, like as in the World Cup schedule. There were issues with how the World Cup was scheduled. The ICC is being questioned. The BCCI's role, the PCB's role there is being questioned.
Yeah.
But Asia Cup, the schedule was announced well in advance. It was in fact the PCB which wanted the hybrid model.
Yeah.
The boards agreed on playing in Sri Lanka.
Every board agreed.
Suddenly this question of, whether once the weather forecast changed, then we suddenly questioned the ACC.
It was a late onset of monsoon.
Yeah.
It wasn't expected to, there was no forecast for rain in that period. Definitely not such heavy showers. And look at the way the matches got impacted. How many Super 4 matches? Okay, India-Pakistan, but they planned a reserve day. India-Sri Lanka wasn't affected by rain. India-Nepal, in the group stage, it was. The Pakistan-Sri Lanka game...
Sri Lanka-Bangladesh was not affected by us.
Sri Lanka-Bangladesh wasn't.
And in India, Bangladesh game was also not affected.
Even then, that wasn't affected by rain. And the India-Sri Lanka final
didn't need...
started...
40 minutes late.
40 minutes late. Because, again, there was no forecast. We were all talking about the bright sunshine in Colombo.
Our live blog headline read bright sunshine. India win, Sri Lanka win toss with bright sunshine in Colombo. Suddenly,
I would assume Dasun Chanaka would have wanted to bowl first had he been aware of
the clouds,
of the cloud cover. So, but I think they were brilliant, right? I think it was a good tactical decision by ACC. In hindsight, I would also rather have had these kind of matches than flat track. Than those flat tracks in Pakistan.
Even Rohit Sharma mentioned that in the press conference.
I think it was fun.
Good to play in challenging wickets, on challenging wickets.
I mean, that's why you got a game like India-Sri Lanka in the Super 4. I thought that was the best match of the tournament. Even the Pakistan-Sri Lanka game. Pakistan were no match for the Sri Lankans in that situation. So you have to take it for what it is. And kudos to the ACC for building that kind of Asia Cup tournament. I think it's a huge success. Look at the level of matches.
Absolutely.
The gesture at the end, US dollars 50,000 for the ground staff. And I even read a tweet from...
It's a lot of money.
Well deserved journalist saying that even the head curator there forego his share and then gave it to the groundsman.
No, well deserved. I mean, look at the way the ground... And we've talked about that in one of our earlier shows, where the ground staff were ready even before it started drizzling. That India-Pakistan game, so many people were critical about, why would you have a reserve day? Why would you have a reserve day? The fact that they made play possible the next day. And it's okay, you have to be practical. It's what gets you the revenues.
Absolutely.
Some of the nonsense social media posts also came saying that if India hadn't had that reserve day, Pakistan would have qualified. At the end of the day...
You get a result when you can, right? So,
and good gesture from Mohammed Siraj also, giving away his prize money of the player of the match in the final.
Absolutely.
And everybody was appreciative. Even Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli mentioned that, uploaded the groundsman after the Pakistan game. It was overall a very, very good effort. A good Asia Cup for most of the teams.
I think, it was a good Asia Cup, especially for India. Obviously, they're the champions. They won everything apart from the game against Bangladesh, which I didn't think they anyway cared too much about. Now look at it tactically, statistically, India have lost 3 of the last 4 matches to Bangladesh. But, that those numbers are going to matter.
But coming to that, Raj, playing in Bangladesh in those conditions has been a challenge for most teams.
Yeah.
Bangladesh conditions with their spin.
And their... emphatic home support. That also plays a part. But again, before we come to the end of this episode, it's important to also note that this is now looking like a happy Indian team. This will give them confidence.
Definitely.
Maybe you can talk about how it wasn't much of a competition. Pakistan are not a very good team. They don't really deserve that ODI world number one, if I can be candid.
Absolutely.
Sri Lanka, just trying to get up there. Bangladesh, okay, it was a different day. Yeah, Nepal. I mean, not really the biggest. I mean, India didn't play Afghanistan, but I think, I think it's just that this will give you some sense of confidence. Finally, there is a major tournament trophy 5 years after.
Absolutely.
Now I'm asking you this question before we sign off, Raj. Last week I asked this question.
Yeah.
Both of you said certain things. Are India among the favorites now? Are one of the favorites? Are they the favorites for the World Cup?
Saurabh, take that first.
Definitely, after what they did in this Asia Cup, many people will say that India are favorites. I will not go on that road right now. I will not go on that road. You have to play Australia. And I have said this last time also, I will say this time also. I don't want them to go into the World Cup as favorites. I don't want them to take this pressure. Already you are playing a World Cup in India. I mean, so many people there will be so much pressure. Everywhere you go, people will be coming and asking you, you're going to win the World Cup for us, you're going to win the World Cup for us. So, I will not want them to go in as favorites. No, please not. Because last time also they went in as favorites, they could not win the World Cup 2019, despite performing exceptionally well in the group stages. So this time, let them go in as a team which wants to win the World Cup and let them win the World Cup. I don't see them as favorites right now also.
What about you? Since you asked this question, since
Raj,
you threw this in the
Saurabh is right in a way, but I would want, as in, if you want to become a champion, you have to handle pressure. You have to handle, but that additional pressure, like Saurabh was right, additional pressure. But why not? If you want to conquer the world, have that additional pressure. Of course, if you go in the airports, if you take the bus rides, everyone is going to ask you whether you will win the World Cup, whether you will win the World Cup. The 2011 team did it. If you want to become world champions, do it again.
No, but my point is, you know, it's too early. I'd still say it's too early because of the build-up India have had. I'm not going to, I'm also not going to be get too carried away with the Asia Cup triumph.
Yeah.
We talked about this. Even if India won the Asia Cup, you still have to answer a few questions leading into the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think a few of them have been answered. You've had a few boxes you could tick off. But I think that's that conundrum around Surya Kumar Yadav, that number 8 issue. Will it be Akshar Patel? Will it be Washington Sundar now that he's in the ring? Suddenly, the captain says he's in touch with R. Ashwin. Yeah. You're looking at somebody who can bat a bit at number 8. But if you look at Ashwin, Akshar and Washington Sundar, who's the best bowler of the lot? And by the way, that innings against Bangladesh, where did Akshar Patel bat? He didn't bat at number 8. He batted higher up at number 7. So, is he going to bat there? Are you now looking at Akshar Patel as a batsman who can? Then he should be as a batsman who can bowl. Then he should be sent ahead. Send him at number 4 or number 5. So there are different ways to look at it. I think.
So both of you are saying, "Yaar, Pataka World Cup jeetne ke baad podo."
That's what Rohit Sharma said. But okay, before we go, I want to read out few quick comments from one of our shows a couple of weeks back. Yeah. This is a long name. I'm hoping I get this right, but when you hear your comment, you'd know who we are talking about. This is one of those episodes we did on why the reserve day was justifiable, and also the previous episode where we spoke about India's build up to the World Cup. Somebody commented on one of our YouTube shows and said the podcast was good. The quality of the discussion was very good. Keep asking the right questions. We're not sure exactly what is transpiring between the captain and coach and the selection committee. One hopes that the captain gets the squad he wants for the tournament, as he's the one who takes the field. Well, he's quite obviously gotten the squad now. Because he's also mentioned R. Ashwin, you're assuming that he will be somewhere in the fray. Well, and somebody else also mentioned, I'm trying to figure out the names, but then these names are very, very long. Somebody said, love the podcast, very important questions asked. Totally agree with you about Sanju, where we spoke about Sanju Samson, and we even today, right, we discussed Sanju Samson in depth, and we're figuring out whether he can be an eventual replacement for Surya Kumar Yadav, whose one-day form has been very scratchy. He himself has admitted as much, but I think he is someone who would like to bat higher up the order. He did bat at number 3, but then when you get those rare chances, you got to really grab them with both hands. So thank you so much for these comments. Please do keep them coming. This is what encourages us to ask the right questions. But we also don't want to criticize for the heck of it.
Yes.
So that's why, hats off to the Indian team for the way they played at the Asia Cup. You could only do as much as what the opposition offered, and I think India outplayed everyone. Don't worry about that game against Bangladesh. And hats off to the Asian Cricket Council for the way they organized for the entire tournament, the Asia Cup. The ground staff in Sri Lanka, superb. Some of the heroes of this tournament. And obviously, now we are hurtling towards the World Cup. But before that, India have another major challenge. The 3-match ODI series against Australia. Remember, India lost the series earlier this year. So there will be plenty of work to do. Akshay, Saurabh, we'll come back with a lot more on this explosive podcast called The Sledging Room next week. You can, of course, rate us. You can comment, leave your comments on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you like, wherever you're consuming the podcast on Spotify, and of course, on the YouTube channel as well. Like these two gentlemen, we'll read out your comments every now and then. Till then, have a great week, and we'll be back with a lot more.
You are on India Today Podcasts, and you are in the Sledging Room.